Hi, lovely people. And today's podcast, whom do we have here? Let me introduce Kenneth Paul Lewis. You must be wondering what does he do, what exactly he is about, because we are recording a lot of global leaders from the HR fraternity who are making an impact. And let me give you a glimpse of Kenneth Paul Lewis's career. He's the founder and director of atlaslearning.in. He was also an ex-managing partner and co-founder with OKR International. And most importantly, he has been an investor and board member with DocMode Health Technologies, Purpose, Trade, and also Grassroots. He is also working as an adjunct professor, a faculty for Liverpool Business School, and also with Deakin University via abroad. Let me just give you a short look at his journey. Kenneth Paul Lewis is an accomplished executive presence lead and strategy coach with over 14 years of experience in this niche. Known for his dynamic and engaging facilitation style, Kenneth uses creative exercises to ensure that participation remains energizing, and all the participants are high on energy with their reflective and inspiration which they receive as he applies his learning. He is someone who is globally recognized thought leader in OKRs, which also means objectives and key results. He is an execution excellence coach, having trained and certified over 1,000 leaders in this framework. Kenneth has a career spanning more than 22 years of with professional experience. Kenneth has developed and delivered tailored learnings journeys in leadership, personal effectiveness, and managerial skills for more than 100 organizations, training upwards of 50,000 professionals. His career began in humble role as a private tutor, and he was door-to-door salesman before joining. He was working with Hutchinson Telecom, where he spent 8 years in employee development. Kenneth's experience spans across diverse industries, which includes consumer goods, manufacturing, tech, and finance with clients like Colgate, Shell, Bosch, Unilever, and MetLife. His global reach includes leading programs across India, the Middle East, South Asia, Europe, and UK, making him a trusted facilitator and leadership coach worldwide. Let me now call upon Kenneth. Kenneth, I have been trying to cover and encompass your career as much as possible. And I hope I haven't missed anything because there is so much to talk about you. But then let us hear from the horse's mouth. Over to you, Kenneth.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you, Ashish. And thank you for getting me onto your podcast. And I really hope that you do well and your podcast does well as well. When you started speaking about my introduction, I didn't know that it's going to go so long. It went so long that I grew a few more gray hair than I already have. But it's a pleasure to meet you, and I'm really excited about helping individuals, helping teams, helping organizations become best versions of themselves. And ever since I got into the avatar of a trainer, I stood in front of a room when I was just around 22 years old as a trainer, and today I sit more than 22 years later. I'm doing the same thing. It's something that gives me immense pride. It gives me immense joy, and I'm glad to have been successful doing that as well. And successful, and more than anything else, is the participants and the clients who have been successful.
Wow, that's really nice, Kenneth. And Kenneth, if you can share something about your personal life, our audience would love to know more about the personal side. They know
Sure.
the don't they know Kenneth as a tutor who has skyrocketed his journey to becoming an entrepreneur. But let us hear more about the personal side of Kenneth also.
Okay. So I have three F's, one G, one P, and one C. Okay. So the three F's, which I'm very, very fond of. The first one is, of course, F for family. And the family means my wife, my daughter, my brothers, my sisters who I spend time with. I think they are very, very important to me. And that's what I spend. I think I'm doing all of this to spend more quality time with them and also sustain the future for my daughter. So she's 11 years old and the apple of my eye, as they say. So that's F. That's one F. The second one is food. That's a very important thing.
Lovely.
I love food and I can eat everything and
Oh,
anything,
wow.
any cuisine. You give it to me and I'll eat it. So any part of India, any part of the world, love experimenting. Love just uh, testing my taste buds, as they say, and eating anything that's there. So say
Any
yes.
favorite cuisine you would like to share with our audience?
Oh, my favorite cuisine is, of course, South Indian, and especially with South Indian, it is Karnataka because that's where I come from. So Karnataka Konkan cuisine is one of my favorite cuisines. But having said that, in India, I like cuisine from the northeast of India. I think it's very special and unexplored. And there are various parts of northeast that are really wonderful. International cuisine, I love Vietnamese. So I'm a big fan of Vietnamese and Thai food. So that's the kind of food that I like. The third
That's
S
lovely.
is friends. So spending time with friends is very important. And building more friends, building more networks, keeping them close to you. The people I work with are also my friends. So that's what I really like. And the one G that I put in there is gymming. So I do work out. I love going to the gym. I spend time there. I think it's the best time to just let go, challenge yourself every time. The other one is P, and P stands for pickleball. It's a new sport. I'm I'm very passionate about it. I put 2 hours every day in just playing pickleball. So I'm a big fan of the sport. And the last one is the C, and that's cycling. So I spend time cycling. So you can see that G, P, and C is all about sports and workout. So I believe in that. I believe that a healthy body gives you a healthy mind. So that's what I'm investing in, and also investing
Wow.
in my future, so that when I'm old, the chances that other people have to take care of me is less, and I can take care of others till I'm, much much more older as well.
Right. That's really very good to know. And a lot of entrepreneurs do not get time for workouts. And it is really admirable that you are finding the time and you're focusing on your health. You're prioritizing your health as much because that is the need of the hour because of stress and burnouts and a lot of other issues for the budding entrepreneurs. I would now like to hear more about your journey, Kenneth. And I believe, like any journey, you had your share of ups and downs. You had a humble beginning. And I was almost having goosebumps because you mentioned that you started as a salesperson. And I have a similar background. I started my journey as a salesperson, knocking doors and getting a slam door and almost having tears in my eyes many, many times. And I had cried in my journey because that was my first job. So if you can just give a glimpse about your journey, and it would be very inspiring for the audience to know about your journey, how you started, and
Yeah.
how you have reached to this point.
Yeah, sure, of course. I grew up in a less than a lower income family, very, very low income family. My dad was a very smart guy. Unfortunately, his business that he set up was stolen away from him as he was setting it up. And that got us down almost to the streets. So in my formative years, I decided that I'm going to work every time I get an opportunity to work. And whether it was my eighth standard when I first started giving tuitions to younger kids, eighth, ninth, 10th, 3 years I give tuitions. I carried on that in my 11th and 12th. I waited. I was a waiter in parties. I went to Bollywood parties as a waiter and earned money there. I then worked as a salesman once I grew a little bit more older, selling modems and faxes, walking through Kolaba. I sold customized books to very rich ladies in Sobo in South Bombay, knocking on their doors, and as you said, getting the door slammed on your face as well. But found my way through all of that and earned money. So I worked my through engineering college, came back. worked for a telecom company. But during that entire time, it was that unfulfilled wish. My dad had set up a company, it failed, it was taken away. I wanted to do something as well. And 8.5 years after working in the corporate world, I decided to quit, start my consulting business, realize that I can't work alone. So I then found a partner who was also working with me in the past. We worked together for 15 and a half years and we set up multiple things. We did great work. Unfortunately, that also did not work out. And, you know, what I'd set up as my earlier company, we had to split it. It was taken away. And so there was a very bad thing that happened in between, but I decided to recover from that. In all of that, I had already had set up Atlas Learning in 2014. I set up as, in fact, as a backup plan. But a backup plan, because always in the back of my mind, I knew that I will have to go solo back again. When I decided to first quit my job and start my company and then found a partner, in between that, I had always told myself, Kenneth, you got to go at it alone. Only then will you realize, what is the energy that you need, what is the passion that you need, and you can set your own goals. And then just around last year, I got the opportunity to resurrect uh, Atlas Learning. And now Atlas Learning has, within a year, done wonders for itself. So I've had my ups and downs. We had failures. We had the COVID, but we turned around COVID. In fact, COVID was the most profitable period for me because of my work on OKRs. And so it's been fantastic, Ashish, honestly.
Wow. Really thrilling. You just had a roller coaster ride in your life. And I would like to know personally also, and also for my audience, a lot of them are aspiring entrepreneurs, and some of them have that dream that they will have their own startup at some point of their lives. So I would like to ask you, some of them are already in their 9 to 5 or 9 to 9 their work, and what is your recommendation for them who want to start up on their own? Because they are always in a dilemma whether to do it full time, when to take the plunge, and when to go give it a shot, because they also have their own responsibilities, have to pay the bills, and it is a very difficult decision to make, difficult choice for an entrepreneur. So what do you recommend for a budding entrepreneur?
So, so you can't wait for the stars to align. If you want to
Okay,
be an entrepreneur, you got to plan for it, or you got to take a plunge. You cannot wait for saying, "I'll wait for the day when I'm debt free. I'll wait for the day when I have everything set in my life. I'll wait for the day when I have the best idea. I'll wait for the day when I have the best networks." You can't just wait for the day. So you either do it two ways. You either go into full, I quit and do it, and I do it and I try, right? And I put in my best efforts to make it happen. Or second, you do the Shawshank Redemption. So if you watch the movie Shawshank Redemption, you know,
that's one of my favorite movies,
so
by the
if
way.
you do it that way, you chip slowly and slowly into that walls of despair, into the walls that keep you inside your corporate job. You chip into it slowly but surely. So chipping into it means, setting up your networks, making sure you have the monies, making sure that, the moment you exit, you have everything taken care of, care of. You have all of those things taken care of. And when I quit my job because I started realizing just around 2.5 years after the company that I was working for, which was Orange, which then became Hutchison, which then became Vodafone, was a great company. But having worked there for 7.5 years, I started discovering for myself that I'm not enjoying it anymore. It was great, but I personally was not happy. I was not happy going into work, doing the same thing. I was getting promoted. I was almost doing the same thing, organization development, employee development, training and development. You keep on hearing the same things when you work within an organization. So I realized that I'd learned everything that I had to learn. I'd done a lot of things in my short 7.5 years is short, but I'd done a lot within that time. Um, so just 2 years before that, that particular idea or the flame got lit that I need to now get into doing my own thing. And then I started building networks. I formed a networking group of HR professionals in Mumbai, 2,500 people still in it. We resurrected that also as well. I started, saving some money just in case. I made a few plans. Not all the plans worked. Not all the plans work. But then one fine day, I came back home. I didn't even consult with my wife and I told her I quit my job. The good thing she was working. So she helped me out. Uh, but I just quit my job. And I said, I'm going to start. And I quit, Ashish, during midst of recession, 2008, 2009. So you can imagine.
My God, that's
Yeah. So
highly courageous.
it was a hopeless place, but I still made okay. My networks helped, my networking groups helped, all of that helped, and it still got okay. And then, in fact, it was a couple of years of struggle with very little income coming in, almost 20 to 30% of my last drawn salary. But I had to make peace with it because the third year and fourth year, once the struggles got over, I started earning 300x, 3x of that same piece that I had lost out on earlier. So I made up within a few years itself. So a lot of resilience, a lot of patience, but that's what it is, Ashish. You either do it or you don't. And if you decide to do it, you can do it right away or you can just chip slowly into the wall.
That's really a beautiful journey, and you have shared a wonderful analogy of the movie Shawshank Redemption. It is one of my favorite movies, and I probably watched it a zillion times. I still watch it whenever I need the inspiration to, get on with my life. Kenneth, I would like to probe deeper into the setbacks you have had in your life. And if you can just share a glimpse on how you have bounced back, because all of us go through some tough times. And recently, you must have heard that there are a lot of mental health issues also, which are creeping up in corporate professionals, burnouts, and people are not able to cope up. So, what has been your survival system, or how you have bounced back, how you have kind of dealt with tough times? What exactly, what have you latched on to come out of that? Any tough time which you would like to share with the audience here, and how you have bounced back from such a tough time?
So I have when I started off my career, especially as a consultant in 2008, 2009. The recession period was really tough. It was testing. There were months without any work. You know, um, but then at that time I used to liken myself to a struggling actor, Ashish. So and in Bombay, is full of struggling actors. So some of them also as well. And when you meet them, there's this tenacity, there's this resilience that's there. You learn something from them that if not today, tomorrow I'll get something. So that hope, and keep on trying. Just I think the main thing was not sitting and doing nothing. So that was something I just did not do. I was always out there. There was a client of mine who was going to give me the biggest order that I would have got, and had almost gone to the last round. So the client's name is Mahindra, okay, and it was a big training and development order, big consulting order, 25 lakhs, a big amount of money in 2008, 2009, and it would be my biggest payday, enough to last me for 2 years at that time. Enough to pay my loans and everything that I had. So I had loans also when I quit my job, by the way. So I had debt on top of my head. Uh, and that client had reached out to me through a common friend. Everything was done. I was at the last round. The only person I had to meet was the CHRO. For some reason, not some reason, I know the reason why. Because of my arrogance, Ashish, I lost the client. I thought too much of myself. I thought I'd reached the last round. I thought I had the contacts, and I antagonized the CHRO. You know, we discussed a few things. We had arguments during the conversation. I was full of hot air, Ashish, and that was a big setback. I lost that deal. When I came back home and I got that feedback that this is what you did, it dawned on me that as an entrepreneur, you also got to eat humble pie, right? There's not everything that you know. And when people
Right.
come to you for help, it's not that they don't know. They just want help because of multiple reasons. They want help because there's nobody else to help them. They don't have the resources. They can probably help themselves, especially in training and development and in HR and coaching. They can help themselves, but they would like to have another person, you know, fasten the process. Your job is to understand and then choose the right tools. Your job is not to superimpose. Your job is not to show arrogance that you can do it for them. So that was, I think, was the biggest setback that I had at that time. But after that, I think the second biggest was just around last year when I had to leave OKR International, a company that I had co-founded, and it did not go all that well. And the company had to move geographies. I didn't want to move geographies. I wanted to be in India. So that decision to move and not move um, got me to lose that company that I created. So setbacks happen, Ashish. And my message to all entrepreneurs in all of this is shit happens, right? Whether you like it or not. I think one of the things that works for me is the fact that, in my brain, very quickly, I'm a solutions guy. I will not sit on problems. So if there's a problem, I will say, okay, there's a problem. It hurts you. You feel tight on your face. You feel heavy on your chest. You feel, or you feel all of that. You feel all of that. Okay to have that feeling, but then as quickly as possible, you got to think of what can I do from here, and then increase pace and do a lot. The worst thing that you can do is sit and mourn when you have a setback. Just do a lot of action, and something will hit, something will work, and that's exactly what happened. So when I had to leave OKR International, I had to resurrect Atlas Learning. The best thing that happened for me is that my love for my company just increased. You know, the company that I set up 10 years ago, but had done nothing about, was just there. I'd never promoted. And suddenly I said, let me rebrand it, let me put a new logo, let me hire people, uh, and let me do things now. And the last 1 year, Ashish, we have backed brands like Perigo, HSBC, SPI, India Ratings, Sybil, so ISB, the Indian School of Business. Come on, I'm working with the dean out there. It's been fabulous. So you go through those ups and downs. We have currently, because of this possible macroeconomic factors that are affecting the world, possible war, fuel prices, all of that. You see, there's a recessionary outlook that is there. So there's a lean period, but also in this lean period, it's like do stuff. Get on a call with Ashish, do this podcast. That's just do stuff. That's the idea, right? And the best thing is that backing all of this is I have my goals. My goals are very, very clear to me. Yeah, I have my OKRs, my objectives and key results are very, very clear for me. So I know what they are. I work on them. They're on top of my mind for my health, for my family, for my finances, and for my business. It's very clear. Yeah. And the best part is people think there's a lot of work to put in it. Honestly, there's more work if you don't have goals. If you have goals, there's actually less work because you know what to do and you know what not to do. Yeah.
Absolutely. And Kenneth, talking about goals, can you share with the audience what exactly is your ritual? Because I'm in the mindset game and I tend to write my goals every day.
Yeah.
And what is your ritual to up your mindset game to level up your mindset? Do you follow certain rituals? If you can share with the audience, because everyone does some rituals, especially you have certain aspirations. And for me, I have to do certain rituals and I work on my inner game for more than 1 hour every day. It's almost 1.5 hours every day. What about your inner game? What exactly do you do to level up your inner game?
So of course, with the OKRs, my OKRs goals are written. So it's there on the first page of every book. Once I finish a notebook, it's there on the first page to remind me what my goals are. So they're right here. They're written here. So I have Atlas Learning goals. I write them again. I have goals for my brand. I have goals for me myself personally. So they're all here. My OKRs are right here. I have goals for finances. So everything is right here. So it's written. It's not anywhere else. But more than that, it is, you spoke about mindset. And so I'm going to do this for you. Okay. I'm just going to go off camera. I'm going to come on camera very soon. Just give me a minute. Hi, my
Hi.
name is Kenny, and I have a box in my head.
Hi,
Why
Kenneth.
do I know that I have a box in my head? Why do I know that I have a box in my head?
Why? Why? Everyone wants to
Because
know why.
everybody tell me to think outside the box, okay? But no one tells me what the box is. And then I
Okay.
decided I need to know what the box is. So I found the box and I put the box on my head and I made it that box. This box is my mindset. And when I put the
Okay.
box in my head, on my head, when I have a mindset, when I have a box, a mindset on my head, it changes the way I see you. It changes the way you see me. It changes the way I make decisions. It changes the way I think. It changes everything, right? Even when I don't have a physical box in my head, I always have a mindset. There's there's the way I think, there's the way I process, the way I observe, the way I perceive. And the thing about the mindset is there are two parts to the mindset. There's the outer part, which is your personal brand, which is how you are at your best, which is how you are seen by others as well. But there's also an inner box. And you open your box, you come to know your passions, your goals. You can see Atlas right up there. You come to know your filters and your thinking, right? You come to know what your real hidden agendas and aspirations are. Now, I train this to people, and I, and this is something I live by as well. Is constantly thinking what's on top of my mind, what's impacting the way I'm making decisions. When I say let's do this, why am I doing this? When I say let's not do this, why am I doing this? What is I think the work on your mindset is very important. One of the reasons I play sports, Ashish, is because for me that's my mindset. It's my mind gym. So when I'm in the gym, I'm not just working on my body; it's also my mind. I'm thinking. I'm not just thinking about the next exercise, but I'm thinking about my work. I'm thinking about family, and it relaxes me. Right? When I'm playing pickleball, actually when I'm playing pickleball, nothing comes to my mind. I'm just blank. So it's like it's just detox for your brains. When I'm cycling, I'm thinking about what I want to do next. What's my plan? It testing yourself. So my rituals, though are written goals, it's a lot of constant thinking that I'm doing before I sleep. Just a review of what did you do today? What do you need to do tomorrow? Just a small review. There's no charts. There's no bar graphs. There's no dashboards. Currently, there might be. I work with software companies that do all of that. But currently, I don't have that. It's all here. And then it's all in conversation, talk. So also with my team, it's constantly talking and talking about what's important and making changes. Ashish, also, you got to learn to make changes to your goals. So that's another ritual, you can say.
That's really amazing. And that's really powerful what you have shared. Kenneth, I would like to know more about OKRs and how it is creating an impact because this looks amazingly powerful and it is something which I am coming to know for the first time and I'm really excited. And this is really a wow kind of a moment for anyone who does it for the first time. So if you can share how it can impact leadership, how it can make a dent in the mindset of people who are stuck in certain stages in their careers, how you are bringing in a change through OKRs in the leadership. If you can shed more light on it.
Sure. So OKRs is a goal setting methodology. So just like KPIs, just like balance scorecard, just like any other methodology that exists, OKRs help you set and then track and then achieve goals. Um, in most goal setting methodologies, you don't have the track part or you don't have the constant progress piece. You just have a framework that puts the goals together. It's like this photo frame on the back of me. You set the goals and you put it there. But OKRs is not just in a frame. OKRs is something in action. So OKR stands for objectives and key results. So objective is what is your real ambition? What is your passion? What do you really want to be? Who do you really want to become? What is that thing that really inspires you? So it's not just saying I want to lose weight. So losing weight is not an objective. Losing weight is just saying, I think I'm not feeling all that well. I'm not looking like the way I look in. I don't like the way I look at myself in the mirror. So I want to lose weight. No. Then you say, what is it that you really want? What I really want is I want to look in the mirror and tell myself I look good. That's an objective. My objective, for example, for my fitness is to be the fittest version of myself that I ever was. And it's every time. So every time I'm challenging myself to constantly be fit. And that's an objective. Now, to that objective, you got to say, how do you know that you're achieving your objective? You need key results. Key results answer the question, how do you know you're achieving your objective? So, key results are nothing but metrics with targets. So, one metric is, yeah, I got to keep my waistline in check. So, for me, it's not about losing weight. I got to keep my waistline, right? I was 36 when I started this exercise. Today, I'm 32 and a half. Okay. My weight was around 95 kgs. Today I'm 88 kgs, right? You look at what else can make me look good in the mirror? What else can make me look fit? Earlier, I couldn't run more than 3 kilometers. Today, I can run 7 kilometers. So the number of kilometers that I can run and how fast can I run? So these are nothing but measures with targets. Similarly, I have goals for my company. So for my company, I have goals, and those goals are largely around, branding or to funding. So for me, at Atlas Learning, I want to be seen and recognized as the best and most recommended OKR training and service provider in India. So that's an objective. Now, what are the key results? The one key result is that I'll have my master certification course launched very soon. There's never been a master certification course in OKRs. Okay, and especially a 3-day long program. So I'm launching a good 3-day long program, and I know for sure that I'm going to have a waiting list on it. So my measure of success is having a waiting list of participants for my COKRM, which is my certified OKR master certification program. I will be working with 2 other big brands this year. I've worked with ISB, I've worked with Perigo, I've worked with Paca, I've worked with Hamilton. I'm going to work now with 2 more brands. These are goals that you set. You set those, you write them, you communicate with them, and then you put initiatives to make that happen. The good thing about OKRs, Ashish, is that it's not just written like this, O's and KRs. You can have up to 3 to 5 OKRs. So 3, one on, say, finances, one on customer, one on product, one on services, but don't have more than 5. So less is more. That's another thing about OKRs. So true focus on a few goals. And the other piece, what I love about OKRs is that they're transparent. Everybody in the organization can see what the goals are, whose goals it is, and more importantly, what's the progress on the goals. Right? So it's a clear, transparent dashboard. Because nobody likes to, would you like to play a game of cricket without a scoreboard? Would you like to watch it?
Absolutely
No,
not.
right?
Absolutely not.
So OKRs is goals, but you need a scoreboard, a transparent scoreboard where you can see how everyone's performance is. So real-time data tracking, actual goals with measures, with ambition, that's heart, okay, put into it. Getting everybody together in a social. So once a quarter, we set it every quarter. So we set it every quarter, we reset it at the end of the quarter. So every 90 days, the goals are set and reset. And you have everybody from the organization coming in and then sharing and discussing what those goals are. So that's what I do. I help organizations understand OKRs. I train them. I certify some of their internal champions, okay, who can then coach others and coach other people on setting up OKRs. And I help organizations then sustain the process for at least a quarter to 2 quarters. And then I leave it to them. So that's what I did with ISB. That's what I've done with Colgate-Palmolive. That's what I've done with Hamilton, InMobi, multiple companies across the world.
Right. My next question too is, how is it measurable? How have you measured the return on investment which organizations have done basis
The
the
OKRs?
investment in OKRs?
So there are multiple reasons why companies come to us OKRs. So when Ram Raghavan of Colgate-Palmolive had come to me for OKRs, he said, Kenneth, we are a 250-year-old organization. We're growing at single-digit growth. We need something to shake things up, and I think OKRs is the best way. Now, the real return on investment was not the double-digit growth that they got. So they got a double-digit growth after OKRs. Okay, from single-digit double-digit. So the ROI is clearly there. But it's not that, the tangible. It was the intangible. Suddenly, the organization reduced their product development time from 2 years to 3 months to 4 months. They were able to put products into the marketplace quicker. That is the real this. The other one was collaboration. People were talking to each other much more than ever before. They were North sales was talking to South sales. They were not being competitive, but they were talking to each other and saying, what is the best way to get this done? They were leveraging on each other's best practices. So that was the clear key result that we saw in the practice of OKRs. And I've seen that in multiple other organizations. It's not just the ROI in terms of dollars or rupees, but largely it is the sense of collaboration, the sense of alignment, the speed in decision making, information transparency, all of those things, the level of engagement that employees feel towards your organization, all of those things become, the actual returns of investment.
That's really amazing journey in terms of OKR implementation. I would like to know from you, at an individual level, have you had any transformational case studies at the leadership level? Because at the CEO, CXO levels, it's quite lonely at the top. Have you coached using the OKR modality to bring in a transformation in the leadership viewpoint, perspective, and take them to the next vantage point? Because at the leadership level, you get kind of, you feel that there's nothing more to achieve. And sometimes there is a burnout, sometimes leaders are also lost, and they need coaching and hand holding from time to time. You need to give them a different view. So, how have you transformed the leaders? If you would like to share any leader's journey with you.
I think I don't think I'll say I will transform. Let me take humble pie. Is the people transform themselves? Um, my coaching or even the OKR models are nothing but catalysts. They don't do anything that the reactants wouldn't want them to do, you know? So in this case, the coaches or the leaders is because of the desire to want to change. That is the biggest reason. So my job is just to facilitate, to catalyze the process. So when I talk about Ram Raghavan, I think he himself is such a great leader. OKRs helped him and helped Colgate Palmolive in India from 2018 right up to 2022 become a really, really powerful FMCG company, become flexible, so much so that his success was seen by Colgate around the world. And today he's the global head for oral care in the world. So he's the second or third in line for the organization, so to see. I remember this other person within the same company, and she's a dear friend today, Edna Amundo. She used to head research. She was the chief technical officer, you could say, the chief research officer. OKRs for a research R&D team was unheard of, but she was so passionate about the fact that she wanted this her research center to become the most renowned, most experimentative, most successful research center among all the other research centers in the FMCG world. And she got that going. Suddenly, she and her team were able to put out products, work with the sales team, work with the product team, do consumer insights, figure out what's important, and roll out products really quickly. It's a very experimentative, agile mindset. So much so she went from Colgate, she was moved to L'Oreal. From L'Oreal, she was moved to Perrigo, the world's largest pharmaceutical manufacturing company for OTC drugs. So her success has been amazing. It's and yes, it's lonely at the top. But what helps with OKRs, especially OKRs helps you regularly communicate what's on top of your mind and then even hear from people what's going on their goals. So it's a framework that also enables communication. That's the way I see it.
Very nicely put, Kenneth. I would like to ask you, how do people hack their growth and accelerate their growth? Even people at the mid-senior level, what would you recommend to accelerate their career growth much faster? If there is a system to it, if there is a methodology to it, what would you recommend as a best practice?
I think the first thing is stop playing safe, so the experiment. Bring in something new. I mean, people at the mid level become so what they want to prove to others that they can do what their predecessors have done or what their bosses can do and only live within the box. right? So I think the first thing is find something within your organization, within your teams that nobody has done before. The only sure shot way for growth in an organization is not just keeping on doing the basics. The basics are important, but the basics will only keep you to where you are. Every quarter, you and your team should be introducing a new product, a new process, a new system, a new method, um, a new way of working, and then talk about it to everybody. Tell people what you're experimenting, right? I think that for me, and that's why I love OKRs, because between after O's and KRs comes I's called initiatives. And the other thing about OKRs that I didn't mention is that OKRs are always stretched. You set goals that are beyond your comfort zone. Because only when you set goals beyond your comfort zone will you then try to do something that's, that's something you wouldn't do. So say for example, if I was 95 kgs and I say I want to make my weight 92 kgs. Ashish, by the end of the month, now I can do some dieting in the last few days and I can make it from 94 to 92. Okay. That's
Right.
not a stretched goal. If I really want to try, I'll make from 94 to 85. Then I know that I'm going to really do things differently. Okay, I'm going to work out, I'm going to run, I'm going to cycle, I'm going to maintain my weight. I'm not going to just do it at the last few days of the month. So when you set goals, put stretched goals. And that's very, very important and critical, right? So that's my hack. Set those stretch goals first, do things differently, do things innovatively for you yourselves and your team. And second, I think third most important thing is find success through other people, not only for yourself. Make other people successful, Ashish. If you can
Right.
make other people successful, okay, as a leader, as a mid-level manager, if you can get other people to become better, you will become better yourself.
That's high on impact, what you just said. Uh, Kenneth, I would like to request you to share your favorite books which have influenced your thought process. And I understand there are many books, but the books which have made an impact on you and which have been instrumental in making your journey fruitful. If you can share it with your audience, with our audience, in fact.
I think everyone who wants to be an entrepreneur, this might be controversial, needs to read Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand and her books, I think, have been the most influential books in the way I lead my life.
I sensed somewhere that you are an Ayn Rand fan when I read Atlas Shrugged somewhere, and
Yes.
then it clicked me because I had read Fountainhead. I started with Fountainhead and then Atlas Shrugged, and yeah,
I love those.
I started following her philosophy of objectivist epistemology, and I was also influenced
So you
when I
now you
was
know
in
why
college.
Atlas, right? You now know why Atlas, right? I got Atlas out here also as a tattoo. You see
Oh,
that?
that's really awesome, man. That's really awesome.
Big Atlas Shrugged fan, who is John Galt and the entire, the objectivism in a capitalist economy. I know these are all big words, but ladies and gentlemen, whoever is listening to this, read Ayn Rand, read Fountainhead, because that tells you that you've got to learn to be selfish in order to be selfless. Selfless. You cannot be selfless without being selfish. You got to think of yourself. You got to think of your family. And only when you do that will you be able to take care of others. Yeah. And that's very,
Right.
and hence, I think that's my favorite book, Atlas Shrugged and Fountainhead. You named Fountainhead already. Two of my favorite books. The other one is Atomic Habits by James Clear. I'm a big fan of that. I go back to my earlier days when one of the books that I picked up and I fell in love with was um, was the book Seven Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. I think that's the book that got me going. It helped me bag my first training program. So I'll always love Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. Took the Seven Habits, I made it into a program, I pitched it to a client, Stephen Covey, if you're hearing it, sorry, or the son of Stephen Covey, sorry, I used your book to create a training program and I sold it. I earned money out of it. Uh, that was a long time ago, but I just fell in love with the principles. I made some of them my own. Um, yeah. So I think that's another clear book that I really like. And then I read on and off quite often. I think Yuval Noah Harari and Humans. I think it's Sapiens is a great book.
Sapiens, yeah.
Then Bill Bryson. I'm a big fan of Bill Bryson. Everything that you need to know about science. So I like science. I like logic. Any book about science, the earth, the stars, the moons, I will read about it. I'm not a very big fiction guy now anymore. So it's more of non-fiction. Uh, but oh yeah, I mean, um, how can I even this Bartlett and how to think like a CEO? I think that's is the best podcaster that there is today. I mean, I think he's bigger than Joe Rogan, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love How to Think Like a CEO by Bartlett. I think that's a great book.
I
Uh,
especially relished the one with Cody Sanchez, and it was quite impactful.
yeah, he's kick ass here. A young guy, making waves in the world by asking the right questions, meeting the right people, and more than anything else, I think just doing things with a lot of sense. I just hope he continues that way. You know, and just stays middle, not left, not right. You know what I mean? Just stays in the middle and is able to then include everyone in the process. I think that's important. Yeah.
Right. And Kenneth, I would really love to take this conversation further, but we have kept this podcast at a crisp, between a crisp time frame of 45 minutes to 60 minutes, that is 1 hour. And I would really love to connect once again with you and probably dive at a deeper level and understand all the things which are necessary to scale your growth. I would like to ask you any message you would like to share with our audience who is watching us, who is probably wanting to ask more questions to you. Any message you would like to share with all the people who are watching us?
Yeah, I think the biggest message that I have is be curious. Just be curious. Um, Ask. If you see something you don't understand, ask. What is it? Research, read. Uh, the more curious you are about the world, the more informed you are about the world, the less biased you will be, the less stubborn you will be. Yeah. And hence, the more accepting and the more understanding you will be. I think it'll make the world a better place if all of us learn to ask a few more questions before we tell our opinions. So that's my message to the world.
Thank you so much, Kenneth, for your time. And we would love to have you here again and probably have a long conversation, maybe over 1.5 hours, 2 hours, and have a lot of coffee and normal conversations. And thank
Sure.
you so much for sharing your insights on OKR, how it impacts your mindset, how you can make a dent in the universe with your thought process by setting stretch targets for yourself. And probably it reminded me of someone like Elon Musk. The other day, I saw his rocket getting back in this getting back on Earth, and that was probably something which was really it's actually making a dent in the civilization, making a dent in the universe, and a lot of impact for the humanity. And you are also doing a lot of impact with your work to the people who are there working in corporates, and also to all the companies who want to take their game to the next level. And thank you so much. We would love to connect again. And thank you so much for your time and valuable insights. Thank you so much, Kenneth.
Thank you, Ashish. Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.